So, hi, my name is Vrushti. I am a teacher and a researcher, and I just did the module 3 of inner child work at Wellness Space, and I found it absolutely transformative for multiple reasons. One of the reasons was just the kind of deep work that the modalities allow you to do, and I know other modalities as well, such as psychotherapy, which is a regularly used modality. However, I find that especially the use of measurability that was introduced to us, and that really pushes you to see the before after, and whether these therapeutic techniques are impacting specific symptoms which are identified at the beginning with the client. So it equips you with theory, it equips you with measurability tools, while also during the training you go through sessions yourself, and you see the release of emotions that happens. It was so powerful. And being a mother, I feel like I can apply so much of that understanding to my kids, how I am with them, but in general also with other people. Now I can see why people are the way they are, because theoretically we understand that there are certain existential questions that people answer through certain phases of their stages of their lives, and if those questions go unanswered, what happens? What are the emotions that get deeply embedded? And this inner child module really opened us up to all of that theoretical understanding, as well as actually testing how some of that was embedded within ourselves, and getting it out from a bodily level. It was just incredible, is what I would say. So the module 1 was mostly self work, and I mean the many techniques that were introduced to us through module 1 were about self awareness, and it was also about understanding the mind, body, brain, and environment connection. So just that awareness, and thinking, seeing it from a scientific perspective, but then also relating it to how, say, Ayurveda understands it, and seeing how all of these are just different languages which say similar things, was incredible. So that self-learning and self-awareness really helped from module 1. But for me, it was module 2 onwards that it became really transformative, and module 3 was where it really hit home. Module 2 was hypnotherapeutic techniques, which were the usual sorts of techniques where clients go into states of relaxation, and there are specific things that are addressed. The way Riri puts it, I'll repeat that. If you want to learn how to do laparoscopic surgery, you've got to learn how to do the basic surgery first. So for me, really, the module 2 was about learning the basic techniques of how to work with clients, and how to get them to voice what's in their subconscious, and how that could be transformed. So some basic transformative techniques that could help the client figure out what they needed to heal. But in the inner child module is when we were introduced to the client-centric approach, and that's where it really became amazing, because you're constantly going back to the client, and it's not so much about directing it. You're not the director anymore, you're just the facilitator, and it's a much more humble, much more a much nicer approach, I believe, and it's definitely my language, and I think I really love that. I mean, I did psychotherapy for about a year before I was introduced to hypnotherapy. Is how I came to know of it. Now I kind of protest when someone says that, are you learning hypnotherapy? And I'm like, no, that's just one part of what I'm learning. But the point being that in the year of psychotherapy that I did, it was very useful, but all at a conscious mind analytical level. And so I felt like while I was doing a lot of work, a lot of processing about everyday behavior, everything was just wasn't in my control. And that's when I came to module 1, I was just experimenting with understanding what's this about. But it's there where I can even anchor my experience in therapy, is that the work that I did on the chair, at a subconscious level, in with regression techniques, with 3D, I was unable to do with psychotherapy. It's just I couldn't access memories of the womb. I went back to being in my mother's womb and experiencing certain things, at a bodily level, that I didn't have access to those memories while doing talk therapy. So it's just about being in a safe space and facilitated by someone who understands that all of this stuff is embedded deep within, and to get things out from the subconscious mind, it might not always be possible to do it through talk therapy or psychotherapy, and where you really need deeper work, which with the body work especially, it really helped release, I mean, for someone who hasn't gone through the experience, it might also be difficult to understand what is this body work, so I would just leave it at that. But there is just some stuff that comes out at a cellular memory level, and that's what happened to me, in my therapy sessions here at Wellness Space. And I think that's changed how I think of myself, how I think of everything. Like every thought that goes through my mind, I understand that it has an impact at a bodily level, and that I've understood only because of this work that I've done. Otherwise I wouldn't have known the difference. So just to add one more thing, being a teacher, and teaching quite a sensitive age group. My students are between 22 to 26, 27. The one thing that I've understood is that these modalities are relevant not just for someone who wants to be a therapist, but also for someone who just has to work with a diverse group of people, especially with my students. I see them differently, I hear them differently, I talk to them differently, because I understand they're coming from somewhere. And that understanding that comes with undergoing this kind of training is very, very meaningful. It's the best 4 days anyone can spend